Welcome to the Christianity in Business Podcast, an initiative of the Archie W. Dunham College of Business at Houston Baptist University. I'm your host, Darren Shear, and this is a show that helps Christian business leaders to integrate biblical values into business. You can get more information about HBU's Center for Christianity in Business, including the Christian Business Review academic journal, articles, videos, and news about upcoming events by visiting our website at christianityinbusiness.com. And now, on to today's interview. Today we're going to be discussing the topic of using business to fund global missions, and we're joined by entrepreneur, philanthropist, speaker, and author Simon Lee. Simon founded EIS Office Solutions Incorporated in August 2004 with one specific goal, and that was to donate 50% of the company's profit to support organizations focused on education, fighting the cycle of poverty, and sharing the love of Christ. And today, EIS Office Solutions is a multi-million-dollar company with 38 warehouse distribution centers located around the U.S., offers support to 8 charities locally and worldwide. And you can read more about Simon's story in his book. It's an excellent book, One Company Under God. You can go and check that out on Amazon. And he's got other ventures going on, but just an incredible guest we've got on the show today. Welcome to the Christianity in Business Podcast, Simon.
Thank you so much for the time and the opportunity.
Yeah, thanks for sharing your time and your expertise with us and your story here today. So as a starting point for the interview, I wanted to kind of back up. I know you got more history even before this point, but how did God call you into business?
Wow, that's a big question, but I'm a third generation entrepreneur. So my grandfather and my father, they were both in business, and so they were very successful in businesses. And so my father was going to pass down his company to me when I first finished college from the University of Texas. And so I worked for him for about 7 years and really understood business from him. Even though I had a minor business at UT, I really discovered how to run a business through my father. And so it was through that I knew that I had the entrepreneur bug, if you will. I really love entrepreneurship, love managing and developing ideas and grow a business. So that's how it came about.
Is your dad a Christian?
Yes. My whole family got saved after we came from Taiwan in 1983. And shortly after that, we went to Tallywood Baptist Church, and I personally got saved through Camp Good News. It's a retreat near Houston. So that's how I got saved.
Awesome. So more specifically, what really helped you to make this connection between your faith and the business world? So you just, was it something that there seemed to be just such an overlap with your father, with your grandfather? Because I find that a lot of Christian business people, it's like this extreme sacred secular divide. How did you really kind of make that connection?
Yes, that's a very good question. I came to University of Texas my freshman year, and after that, my discipler challenged me to go on a missions trip, and that's my first mission trip overseas was my freshman year, and that really set the trajectory of missions in my life. And so I told God, man, this trip was so awesome. I want to dedicate at least 1 or 2 mission trips a year to you, and so I was able to go to 1 or 2 mission trips for the next 20 plus years. And through those mission trips, whether it was in Africa or South America or Asia, it shaped who I was. And I realized that surrendering to God is not about 10% surrendering to our life or surrendering half of our life. It's indeed 100% surrender. And so when we understand that as a believer, that there is no longer segments in our life that are dedicated to God and segments dedicated to the world, that everything that we have and own belongs to God, and that includes businesses. And so when I was, even before I went to college at the age of 16, I surrendered to Christ. And I remember vividly going back home and destroying a lot of the the cassette tapes I used to have on secular raps and secular songs, and I just said, man, even the music that I listen to, man, I want to dedicate everything to the Lord, 110% of my life to the Lord. And so even at a young age, I remember God coming into my life and just gutting out the things that are not of Him. And so that was the beginning, the seed, if you will, how God has transformed me in that time. And so my current pastor always preaches that 99.9% surrender is not really surrender. It's about 100% surrender. We never say, hey, God, I'll give you 90% of myself, and I'll keep 10% to myself. It's never the kingdom of God is not about that. It is always about everything that we have and own, and most important, our life belongs to the Lord. And so that's how the journey started for me, if you will.
Wow. So I was reading about in your book about how your dad came to you with a $50,000 investment to start your company, and that was EIS Office Solutions, correct?
Correct.
And so this was about how many years ago now?
This was 12 years ago. So August 23rd of this month, we will celebrate our 12-year anniversary.
Okay. Well, congratulations.
Thank you. And that $50,000 was a miracle because my father initially told me that I was there'll be no way that he would support this venture because he had the entire future laid out for me. He was going to hand me over his company that he's run for about 30 plus years, and he was going to retire, and I was going to take over. And so I just told my dad, I said, Dad, I would love for you to pray about this, and my dad loves Jesus. And 3 months later, the Lord changed his heart and my mom's heart and gave me $50,000 to start this venture. So that's how everything got started.
So now you started this company with the vision and was it something that went into the bylaws or what, that you were going to donate 50% of corporate profits?
Yes, it's absolutely in the bylaws. It started from day one. That was our vision and I wouldn't say it was my vision. It was a vision that God gave us. And,
sure.
so definitely, that was in the bylaw, in the policy, in our website, and everything that we do, we talk about it. So, we do indeed sell office supplies, but we tell people first that we're a company that donates half the profit to change lives. And then they ask us, what do we do? And then we say we sell office supplies. So the story of giving is always primary.
Yeah. I love that. You said in your book, although we sell over 50,000 kinds of office supplies and office furniture, that is not our calling. Our calling is to donate our profit so we can see God change lives around the world. So, from a Christian perspective, what would you say is the purpose of business?
The purpose of business, purpose of career, purpose of work, everything that you want to include in that is all about God. And so, if you're an engineer, you're a Christian engineer. If you are a businessman, you're a Christian businessman. If you are a lawyer, you're a Christian lawyer. We are saved first for a purpose, and that purpose runs through our career and runs through everything that we do. And so that's how I see it, is that Jesus Christ is in all and through all, and not just part of our life. And so I tell people there's a big difference between a CEO that happens to be Christian, or that Christian is running a business that belongs to Jesus. And so, so one is a vision of a Christian CEO trying to live business out in the Christian mission, which is great. But the other idea is to let God own everything that we have, so that every decision that we make, every money that we donate to, every business decision that we have to make, it's all because of Him. And so how we play that out in our workplace is that every decision that we make, first and foremost, we pray first. So our sales team, our marketing team, our customer service team, we all pray and ask God for direction. If there's any decision that we need to make as a company, we pray for His direction and His vision first before we do anything else.
So the people that are coming to work, because you were saying there that our calling is not to sell office supplies, it's to donate the profit. Is that kind of the mindset that people have when they come to work in EIS Office Solutions, that, we're not, our focus is not on the office supplies, but it is insofar as it relates to this calling, as you put it, to donate the profit. How do you kind of frame that?
Yeah, so everybody that we interview, we tell them straight out that we are a Christian company, and that we are a Christian company that loves to not just change lives that are outside of our office, but we love to see people's lives change while they work at EIS as well. So majority of our team members are Christians, but there are a few non-Christians in our midst, and when we tell them straight up front who we are, they're more than happy to work for us, even though they might not be a Christian. And in fact, a few have received Christ since they worked for us. And so the vision is laid out from day one on an interview. And so we have never interviewed anybody in 12 years that said, well, man, I don't like that vision. I really don't want to work for that vision. In fact, it has been quite the opposite, even for non-Christians, that, man, I want to work for a company that's more important about just making profits every single month. We want to see the money go to a good cause. And so even a non-Christian is excited about living for a greater cause. But I would suggest that a Christian company needs to be really clear about their mission and vision, so that we're not throwing Jesus in secrets, but that Jesus is upfront with people of who we are and what we do.
Yeah. Well, I think it's such a valuable perspective that you're bringing here, because often in this kind of faith and work, theology of work conversation, it can lead people to believe that your work is your worship, and certainly it is, but that you just need to be so, because there's no divide between sacred and secular. Certainly that's true, but if it's not kind of tempered properly, it can lead people to believe that you just need to get so wrapped up in your work, so wrapped up in your business, because, hey, it's ministry, so you can justify it that way. But the perspective that I got from reading your book is that you really encourage your people to understand that it's not, I mean, what happens within the company is, yeah, it's a big deal, but it pales in comparison to, what you're doing with your families and what you're doing kind of beyond the company. That the company is really just a tool. Did I kind of take the right conclusion from that?
Yeah, yes, absolutely. We promote the family aspect of importance in our core value by giving everybody 1 month vacation from day one. And so even if you work 6 months from us and you quit, you still have that 1 month. And so we really value people taking time off, and we also value the work time that we have, which is 9 to 4:30. And people tell us all the time. I said, man, office people, they open till 9 o'clock. Why you need to close at 4:30? What if someone needs their item at 5? What happens? Well, I think the vision and the core value needs to be I guess shared to our customers. So when we tell our customer why we close at 4:30, they are more than happy that we do that, because we are upholding the value of family within our company. So customers now know to order before 4:30 if they want to get the order on time. So customer adjusts to our core value instead of us adjusting to our customers' core value. And in a secular business, we are trying to appease to our customer as much as possible. So that's why we see 24-hour open restaurants and just stores alike, to really appease to the need of the customer. And so what happens when you open 24 hours is that people's family are being abused in a way, because their kids don't see their mother, and it's just a downward cycle from there. And so I actually remember when Sunday in the U.S., where most stores are closed, and people are just adjusted to that. People are just accustomed to not eating out on Sunday, because Sunday is a time of rest. And so I think if we uphold value of family and really share that value to people, people will understand that.
Yeah. Well, it's certainly countercultural in the business world to start a business that's going to give away 50% of corporate profits. I mean, I know that with Chick-fil-A, what Truett Cathy told his heirs was that you were to never take this company public, because if you do, then the shareholders will not allow this level of philanthropy to happen through the company. And so I'm curious, how does it affect your level of motivation? Because I think if you were to ask a lot of business people, like if you knew that your profits were going to get cut in half, would that motivate you to work harder, or to get those sales, or knowing that maybe if if your goal is like an exit strategy to sell out, that maybe a potential buyer might not be as inclined to purchase a company, knowing that it's obligated itself to giving away 50% of the profits. How do you kind of deal with some of those issues?
My primary motivation is to make as much money as possible so that we could give it away. That's the primary motivation. Now, in order to get to that motivation, the love of money in someone's life must be completely destroyed. Because if you have the love of money and you want to desire to give it away, those two things really don't mix. And so the Lord had to do a radical a gutting of my heart in declining materialism and the love of money. And so how that works in our company is that I've capped my salary at $40,000 for the past 6 years. I capped it even before I had kids. I was making $40,000, and 2 kids later, I just recently gave myself a little bit of raise last month. But at $40,000, I really didn't want to get into the love of money, because greed is very, very dangerous. And so it takes just a little bit for our heart to want to go there. In fact, these past 12 years, I struggled with the temptation of, hey, let's just double my salary. Let's triple my salary. There's absolutely no problem with that, But then as I pray to the Lord, ask for direction, every time he tells me, Simon, you have enough. Simon, you don't need that. Simon, I'm going to protect you. Simon, I'm gonna get this company to A to B because of your faithfulness. And so being faithful to the calling from day one is important. And your question about people buying our company now, if there's an exit strategy, we don't plan to sell anytime soon, but we get phone calls at least once a month from people that want to buy from us. Even though they know that we don't have to profit away, I think there's something in our hearts, whether it's Christian or non-Christian, that they want to do something greater than themselves. And so I feel like that's why they want to buy our company out. But I don't know the real reason. I didn't ask them, but yeah, I think selling a company like this will absolutely be no problem, because everything is established. It's a growing company, and so yeah. I mean, I don't know if I answered your question fully, but that's how I would kind of reply you on that.
Yeah, I guess, would you be concerned that if you were to sell, that they would change they would dramatically decrease the percentage of donations?
Yeah, well, one of the criteria is if someone was ever going to buy this company now, it would have to be a Christian-owned business that is passionate about giving money away and passionate about missions of God. And so this company does not belong to me; it belongs to God. And so we want to continue that trend for sure. So, and if the Lord has called me to sell it, that would be the criteria of the buyer.
Got it. Yeah, I think that's an excellent stance. So, as a kind of parting piece of advice, what would you say to a business person to kind of help to, maybe they're really struggling with the love of money, as so many of us are. What would you say to that person that's maybe an entrepreneur to kind of put up some of those guardrails?
I would go back to what I talked about earlier, is that, have you considered surrendering 100% of your life? And that includes the love of money. And if your reply is, well, I can't do that, then my question is, what are some fears in your life that you need God to really conquer? You know, when we talk about money, it's the number one fear that we have is, well, can God provide for me? Can God really, if I cap my salary, or if I decrease my salary, or if I increase my giving, or if I increase the financial activity towards the kingdom of God, what can God do, or what can God not do? And so that's the struggle that we often go to. Can God really, really be there? And I would say, man, test God, because God is bigger than your fear. God is bigger than your bank account. God can do anything that He wants. And so I would say that in these 12 years that we ran this company, I never had a need that was not met. Never. And the joy level of my life is at an exponential, because joy really comes after you surrender. Before surrender, there is such a gut check. I mean, there's so much fear, there's so much anxiety from people. But then after you surrender, that's when joy really, really comes into your life. And so, I would say money is one of those big idols in most Americans' life, most Western people's life, and that needs to be completely gutted before we even talk about how do we start giving to God, you know?
Yeah, well said. So where can people support what you're doing with EIS Office Solutions? I mean, definitely, if are your target customers corporate clients, or are they individual customers, or who are you targeting there?
Yeah, our target audience is small to medium-sized businesses. To be more specific, in the sweet spot of 25 employees or more. And so some of our customers are locally that you know, probably Kalachi Factory, Westside Lexus. And so those are some of the big ones. We sell to state and local government as well. And so, yeah, I mean, our prices are lower than Staples and Office Depot. So give us a shot if you guys want to save some money and use the money for a good cause. But aside from that, we have a list of nonprofits that we support on our website, and please support those nonprofits. Some of them, most Houstonians know already, Star of Hope, Living Water International, and some of these big ones that we support on a regular basis.
Yeah. And tell us about your book and kind of where people can get a hold of it.
Well, you could certainly drop by our office and I'll give you a free copy, because this book was written as an offering to the Lord and as a ministry piece. And so when we visit new customers, we often give them a free book, and so you get it on Amazon.com, One Company Under God. This book is really for people who are in business and who wants to take the business to the kingdom level, and or someone that wants to do business but they haven't started yet. So I want to give them an option of using company as a vehicle to expand God's kingdom. And so and then if anybody wants to get just have some free time to read a short book, it's only a few pages. You can probably read it all in one setting. But just to know that not all businesses are about greed and money. There are businesses out there, a lot of Christian business out there in Houston that are doing great things for the Lord. So hopefully you'll be encouraged by that.
Yeah, definitely. I would certainly encourage everybody to take advantage of that offer. And I noticed that it's also available for sale on Amazon, right?
Yes.
And so the best place to connect with you, would that be eisoffice.net?
Yes, there is an email on there as well, and people could always email me. Simon@eisoffice.net is my personal email. You can email it to me anytime. And I do a lot of speaking engagement and workshops and things like that to help people out if there's anything that could add of value. And so love your feedback as well. Any questions that you might have, simply email it to me, and I'll try to walk with you through it as well.
Yeah, well, obviously there's a tremendous amount of value that Simon can bring to your group. Simon, thank you so much for taking the time. I know you got a lot going on, changing the world, selling office supplies, doing kingdom work. Thanks for sharing your time, your expertise, and may God just continue to bless the work you're doing.
Thank you so much, Darren. God bless you.
We hope you've enjoyed this episode, and if so, we would greatly appreciate it if you'd leave us a quick rating and review for the Christianity in Business podcast on iTunes. You can get more information about HBU's Center for Christianity and Business at christianityandbusiness.com. Thanks for listening, and keep integrating biblical values into your business.